Hi, I'm Marcus,
Hey, I'm Jake.
And I'm Dill.
and welcome to the Hub.
BRISK!
BRISK.
So Spyro, or the Divine Dragon.
Oh, come on.
It's a hard first chase.
Yeah, it is. You're a dick.
Damn.
So Dylan,
Alright,
you
so-
never got to play
Yeah,
Legend
Dill's
Dragoon.
never played Legend Dragoon.
No,
so
he
But
looks
for
really
context,
fucking cool.
He's so cool. But for context, he is the king of dragons. And
Oh.
he is so unbeatable that you need a magical staff and a magical sword to beat him.
How
He is?
big is he?
Yeah.
So
He's like the size of a skyscraper.
and the photo in the background for this PowerPoint, Dill as well. There is a city made of entirely crystal, or at least the palace.
You can kind of see it in the background
Beautiful,
Yeah, I see it a little bit.
especially.
here.
If it
Let me
was
see if I
remade,
can get a
like,
better
Oh my God.
image of it for you.
The Divine Dragon literally destroyed it. Like it was nothing.
Yeah, he
Obviously, crystal, it's relatively easy to break, but still, the fact that so much, he broke it within minutes,
Damn.
and then just fucked off to his volcano.
Yeah, he's just literally just goes right back to his volcano.
He's like, these people are pissing me off. Fine, I'll take care of it.
just gonna...
Fuck this tower in particular. Okay, back home.
Basically,
that tower is the castle.
yeah.
Fuck
So
this-
the royal family of the nation was there. And it's like, okay, emergency meeting, guys. What the fuck?
flying around. He's like, where can I find the shiniest, largest thing around? Oh, okay.
Exactly.
That's basically what happened.
And then the other fun fact about him is he has a couple major moves that he uses. One of them is the Divine Dragon Cannon, which is super powerful.
It might be one of the most powerful moves of the game. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's one of the most powerful for sure. And then his second big move is the Divine Dragon Balls.
No, that's the thing you attacked.
Oh, that's right. We attacked his balls. What were they called? Like meteors or something?
I think he had like a meteor strike or something.
Yeah, basically he showered meteors on you.
Now, like, since Jake and I, at this point, we tried facing him regularly. Obviously, Jake had more success because he grinds more than any human I've ever met. But it took at least a solid 5-6 tries to take him down fully, at least the first time.
Yeah, it was the
Because
first
trying to
time.
understand his patterns, his moves, and trying to see what spells and everything actually work against him, which is very difficult because none of them really do. He's kind of like a all-around dragon.
Yeah,
He's
and he's non-elemental, so he doesn't have a weakness. But
Yeah.
the other thing is, where was I going with this? Oh, so basically in the game you have your Dragoon form, which is kind of like Super Saiyan Power Ranger, I guess you could say.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, and you can only use it for one turn because you get a move. Otherwise, you pretty much instant die. He has an insta kill for any Dragoons because he is a king. So he's very cool, very strong, and his competition is maybe the coolest one on this list.
I mean, it's Spyro.
There's no need for introductions or any description about him because everyone knows Spyro's name.
He is a legend.
And
He
he
is a
was
legend.
the first game was released in 1998, if I'm correct, which is one of the best years of gaming history.
That's true.
And a lot of people remember Spyro because I don't know whatever platformers were out during that year. That was the best platformer of the year regardless. And it gave the PlayStation a good mascot aside from like Crash and all that.
Yeah, there's.
The less said about the fourth game, the better.
Yeah, so the thing about Spyro is he's transcended multiple consoles, generations, and games.
Mm-hmm.
He's a sassy punk, and he
Oh,
was
God.
an introduction to gaming for a lot of people.
I remember this was one of the first games I ever played,
Mhm.
even before Legend Dragoon, Final Fantasy X, all of that. It was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, if I remember, and Spyro.
It was a snowboarding
And
game
Fable.
first.
Oh God! Don't even get me started on that one.
Let's
that-
not mention he also had a show.
He had a show.
I did not know that.
What? Spyro did not have a show. I know he was in Skylanders, but I did not know he
It
had
was
his own.
a show or a movie.
Spyro Academy, 3 seasons.
What? No way!
Well, Skylanders Academy, but he
That
was.
doesn't count because he wasn't the only one in that.
But unlike the other one, he went into media.
That's true.
That's true. The Divine Dragon is a one-off.
Yes.
Well, technically, you get to
Spyro
fight
is
him
a
twice because you can fight his spirit.
That's
but-
true. But there is also one other thing with Divine Dragon, and this is one of my most proud gaming moments. I actually castrated him.
That's true. You can't castrate
See,
Spyro
You can't castrate Spyro. You can't.
because
Like the Divine
for two-
Dragon,
two
like
major
you
reasons.
attacked his balls, and once they were gone, you could not use the move again. And so basically, me and Jake and our friend Eric were like, "Oh yeah, we castrated a fucking dragon."
Yep.
True story.
So
That's good.
let's put in our votes.
Also, I think one of Spyro's most memorable feats was he at one point had control over Dragon Time.
That's true. He had control over time.
That's
And being a purple dragon, he has this thing called convexity breath, and he's able to wield fire, ice, earth, electricity, and time.
So he's the avatar of dragons.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So the thing is, if they were going to fight, Spyro would be abolished. But it's who's better.
Yeah,
That's
if
true.
it was a fight, Divine Dragon wins, no question. But
Right.
if we're going with like just relatively who's the best,
Who's just better.
Spyro kind of gets this by default because he's been so much more than Divine Dragon.
Also, with his intelligence level, he could attempt to find those two things that are your dragon's weakness.
I mean, he wouldn't be able to hold it.
Yeah,
True.
one of them is a sword that specializes killing dragons, so he'd probably die finding it.
Yeah.
And the other one is a staff that like
Probably.
stops
But-
dragons from moving.
Regardless, I think it's safe to say that I'm voting for Spyro on this one.
Dylan, I'm assuming you're voting for Spyro.
Yeah,
I think
mine
that's-
technically is kind of unfair because it's biased because I haven't played Legend of Dragoon.
I agree. I'm gonna also go Spyro because Spyro.
Don't get us wrong, though. We love Legend of Dragoon and we love the Divine Dragon. But
I get that, but Spyro is a fucking
Right.
legend.
So-
exactly, he's
you
an
can't beat
icon in
Spyro.
gaming. You can't beat him. It
At
might maybe later on.
Yeah, I was gonna say at
Right
least not in
now.
round one.
I was gonna say we'll see who, after we have on this
All right.
BRISK.
Winner, Spyro.
Spyro.
Up next, round 2,
Insert clapping.
Bahamut.
Ah, come on!
Oh fuck!
Fuck!
Number 2, you're gonna go that way, Bahamut.
Versus the Archdemon in Dragon Age.
Ah, fuck you!
This is Marcus's little fucking fuckfest right now.
Alright, okay, alright.
Uh,
I will give some context with at least one of them to help out. Since we're on the Archdemon slide, I will give some context. So, in the lore of Dragon Age, the universe, basically, there's one nation, Tevinter, which is an old empire. They stormed heaven because, obviously, heaven. They're dicks. What do you expect? And so,
It's true.
eventually, like, the gods are like, okay, you just did this. Fuck you. No. And basically started the first blight. Now, the blight is led by the Archdemon, as we see in the photo here. And the Archdemon's usually a dragon. But the only way to kill it is using the Grey Warden. And the Grey Warden's so special because they have the dragon's or the Darkspawn blood in them, which
Correct.
is the taint that the old gods. So the only way to kill a Archdemon is using a Grey Warden, which would actually end up killing you or the Grey Warden. So the Dragon Age Origins, which is still the best of the Dragon Age franchise, I will dispute that to the day I die.
Or until
your
they make a better
Grey
one.
Warden. Yeah, the Grey Warden is tasked with beating the Archdemon of the Fifth Blight. I don't remember the name of him off the top of my head.
No, I don't either.
And you were given the option of somehow using some ancient ritual, which basically impregnates one of your party members, Morgan.
Which was okay because
Which, if
Dallin
you run
wanted
as
to
Morgan,
anyway.
there's no problem with that. So if you did that, your character survived. But if you didn't do that, or if she didn't sleep with your party member Alistair or Logain, depending on circumstances, your character was going to die, or whoever actually struck the killing blow.
Which should have been your character.
Yeah.
Because,
And
come on,
I think
you need that
in
payoff.
total there's 7 or 8 of the archdemons, but of course they spawn every few hundred years.
Right.
There is also a little confusion, I would like to say, in Dragon Age's Inquisition, which is take place about a decade after Origins. People do refer to the dragon that the antagonist has as an archdemon, where it's just a dragon that's infused with red lyrium.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys play Dragon Age 2 or Inquisition and get more of a sense on that, you'll understand it. But
Sure.
that's really how the archdemon rolls.
Gotcha.
This king of dragons, he has appeared in, let's see. 2, 3, 4. I think at least 9 games. I want to say
9 games.
maybe
At least
more,
of the franchise.
probably more. In different forms, he's always the king of dragons.
I'm pretty
Actually,
sure that's what Bahamut actually means in a certain language.
Isn't
It's,
he technically in other verses as well?
not this
Like,
one,
is he-
but yes.
There,
I think so.
Yeah, I was gonna say there are other Bahamuts.
Yep, for sure. So I just picked a couple images of them. This is the one from 10, who comes in multiple
Marcus
forms.
off.
Comes
Sorry,
in this
I
form,
do
which is the normal form, and then there's also a dark version, because there's a dark version of each
That's
Aeon.
the adorable form.
I wish.
That's what I thought I heard you say.
Oh, no.
You're like, this is the adorable form. I'm like, what? That's
They haven't
adorable.
made Bahamut into a chick or anything at the moment.
Chibi.
So maybe Final Fantasy 16 has Bahamut as a chick. We'll see.
Yeah,
Oh,
maybe.
God.
He's usually a dragon, like this kind of look. This is kind of a more like machismo humanoid-esque.
Yeah.
And then in 15 he was this like, you didn't really see him, kind of. It was weird because he was like a dragon, but like a crystal. I don't remember. It was weird, but
Dragon, a crystal.
I would say the best example of Bahamut, and me and Jake talked about it recently, is probably from Final Fantasy IX, where he is legit a dragon. And let's just be honest, he fucks a lot of shit up.
yeah, he absolutely does. And then his primary
Even kills
move.
Final Fantasy Hitler.
That's true. He kills a blue fat Hitler.
Queen Branny. She
Actually, if you see the picture in the background, that is her castle.
Oh yeah, it is. I
So
love
he-
the meshing of it. That's pretty good.
Yeah, thank you. So he has his special move is Mega Flare, which just decimates people. He's often the most powerful, or one of the most powerful summons in each game. And yeah, he's a badass.
Yeah. If you face him, you have to really strategize or make
Yeah,
sure
so-
you're ready, because if not, you will lose pretty handily. Because the second Mega Flare does hit. If
It's
you
rough.
play that right, it hits above the limit
So,
break.
let me grab a statistic here real quick.
Well, of course, by all means.
Well, Marcus loses.
Wow, dick.
Grabbing a book.
There.
I was just looking at this like last night, actually.
Which one?
It's about Bahamut. Specifically, facing him in Final Fantasy X,
Oh my god.
how much health he has.
Now, are we talking about the Dark Aeon?
The
or
dark
are we-
version, yeah, because that's the version you fight.
Okay.
He has 4 million health.
Jeez.
Well, thank you for telling me that. So when I actually do play Final Fantasy X again, I have to prepare big time.
Yes. So he is,
Jesus.
but he is not the strongest. So
I know.
for reference, he's the third strongest, and then yeah, and then the penance, but that's a different topic.
I don't even think I'll ever get to penance.
No, I think he has like 100 million health or something stupid.
The only way you can get to him is if you use a certain Aeon or Jimbo and somehow pay him to get his one-hit kill all set.
No, you can beat him other ways, but that's like the...
Okay, that's a less time-consuming one.
Yeah,
Let's be
but
honest here.
it's very unlikely. So Archdemon, Bahamut.
Dill, I'll let you go first because you don't really know too much about Bahamut.
Honestly, I'm probably gonna go with Bahamut.
Nice.
All right. I'm also gonna go with it, mainly because with the Archdemons, they're kind of a one-off as well, kind of the same situation as Divine Dragon and Spyro.
Mhm.
Bahamut's been in, as you said, at least 9 entries of the Final Fantasy saga or series.
He also seems to have a much higher intelligence than the Archdemon.
Well,
Yes, so I couldn't really go into some of that with this one specifically, because you haven't finished the game. But his intelligence is prevalent.
I heard the emphasis on there, Jake.
But regardless, I'm gonna vote for Bahamut because Bahamut is definitely the king of dragons.
Also, what's the size difference between them?
See, that's the problem. It varies.
Yeah, so
like,
so
the
this version
Archdemon
is actually
was-
only like, I don't know, 15 feet tall.
Yeah. The Archdemon is bigger.
Most
Size
of the
doesn't
time.
always mean better, though.
Exactly, but Mega Flare would absolutely destroy a city.
Yeah, Bahamut would destroy him.
Yeah.
But that's because Bahamut kills everyone.
He'd be like, "You're an archdemon? You're cute."
All right, winner, Bahamut.
Bahamut.
Round 4, Ender Dragon.
God.
Minecraft.
Fucking Ender Dragon.
Facing
fucking
off
Ender Dragon.
against the Hydra King from God of War.
Oh, God.
Oh no.
Now, you say Hydra King, so is it just that head?
The Hydra has 3 heads, doesn't he?
Well, Hydra has a bunch of heads, but,
Yeah.
and you only fight 3 of the heads in the opening of God of War, but the other heads are doing their own shit.
Yeah,
Around the
I
ship.
remember the fight well.
It was a good intro.
It was a fun intro, yeah.
Jesus. I
But
can't even remember the last time I played God of War.
just in general, I mean, all of his heads are part of him, so I'm gonna say all of his heads.
So the Hydra itself, fucking Ender Dragon.
Just the Ender Dragon. I don't know enough about Minecraft to know how impactful he is, but I imagine it's important.
Well, he is the end boss of the entire game, which a game is all about creation, yet somehow there is a final boss.
Yeah, they put a story mode in it. I think Microsoft did that when they bought it. So
Like, this should not have happened. It's
He
just-
was actually in it before the story.
oh, cool.
So is Herobrine, but we don't talk about him.
Really, Marcus?
Sorry, I had to.
Really? This is why we can have nice things.
Yeah, that's
But
fair.
we can't have a Hydra King or
Fuck
an
off!
Ender Dragon.
Funny, Jake.
So I've never dabbled into the Minecraft. Not my style, but he is freaking cute.
He is probably at the moment, aside from Spyro, the most adorable of the dragons we've seen.
That
At least
might,
on this list.
that might be consistent.
So far.
That might be consistent.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's cuter than those two, but
It's tough.
I don't know how strong he is, how cool his moveset is, how fast he is.
I mean, if anything, he's probably just a... Excuse me.
But I've seen the combat in Minecraft, so I imagine he's just kind of clunky.
He is pretty clunky.
He looks clunky at least.
Sorry, guys. It's a she.
My bad.
I just realized that. Oh god, it's a she. So
So
that
we're murdering
helps explain some
the
things, but
she-dragon?
also
Okay.
let's not drop some stereotypes.
Versus this asshole who we have to stabbed through the head a couple times. And then I'm sure he comes back later. I never actually beat God of War.
So, Ender Dragon might have a little bit of an advantage due to it being able to like fire, like shoot fireballs. And when
Oh,
it
he
gets
shoots
closer,
fireballs.
it can use,
That's cool.
And it's also
when she gets close, she can use like breathe out like purple fog. I don't know what that does, but
remember,
I like
she's also
it.
one of the only beings inside of her own realm as well.
Very cool. But the Hydra King has ancient Greek going for it.
it's true. And if
Tell me
Ender
you're not
Dragon
gonna
gets,
just vote for him because of that.
if Ender Dragon gets too close, Ender Dragon's fucked.
Yeah, no, in a fight, I don't think the dragon would win.
Oh, yeah.
1 second.
But
boys?
I don't know how Ender Dragon would lop off a head. She's got the fire to singe it so it doesn't grow back, but I don't know. I think Hydra's got too many advantages in this.
I have to agree as well. I think the Ender Dragon, why adorable as she is, the Hydra King not only has the mythology to go behind it, and had a good adversary in Kratos, unlike Minecraft Steve, as I believe most people are calling him.
Yes. Yep.
I have to give it to the Hydra King.
All right.
I do too.
Hydra
Sorry,
King
Ender Dragon. You're adorable, but fuck off.
She
Hydra
is the
King
most adorable.
wins. I was gonna lean towards the Hydra King as well, just
I figured as much.
out of pure not having played Minecraft. Right.
All right, next up.
I don't know which round we're on. I forgot to write it in this one. But
We're still in round 1, but this is the third matchup.
Alduin from Skyrim facing off against Blue Eyes White Dragon,
Ooh.
who
Now the
has
question
appeared
is,
in games,
does
of
Blue
course.
Eyes have the ability to do his evolving?
Well, remember, this isn't a who would beat who.
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know
if
about-
it was a
Kaiba
fight,
is
I
the
would
one in
have
control
destroyed.
of Blue Eyes. Like he wins no matter what. But sorry, I got to.
So if we're just doing basic Blue Eyes, because he could have the feat of evolving to Blue Eyes White Dragon and then Shining. But Alduin,
So I haven't played too much of Skyrim because I'm not a big fan of Bethesda games.
Sure. Well, basically, he
But
is
from
the
what I gathered with him,
he's
he
the
is the
big
first-
bad guy.
yeah, he's like the ultimate dragon.
I
And
believe
if
he
I am
also
correct-
controls time.
Yeah, I was
he's
gonna say
pretty
there's
much a
time.
god.
Yeah.
He's able to shout and cause meteors fall from the sky. He can create an impenetrable mist, like you said, Jake. He's able to control time. He's a fucking beast.
Okay.
Yeah, he's ridiculous, and he's kind of an asshole.
Oh, he's a wicked dick.
I mean, if you're basically a god most of the time, you are an asshole.
That's true.
He can
Every
resurrect.
medium, if
He
you're a
can
god,
resurrect the dead. So he has the ability to summon dragons to his bidding.
Hmm.
that would suck. All right, and then we have Blue Eyes, which not really much can be said because
He's just cool.
he's a fucking badass.
He's an icon, He's
One of the greatest Yu-Gi-Oh cards ever.
right. Even if he's like not that great of a card to play it, like in game, he's the
you
coolest.
know who he is.
And plus, look who fucking uses him.
PlayStation
Seto
5.
Kaiba is arguably one of the best of that show.
That's a
entirely.
person.
Shut up.
You're funny.
All right. For me, I'm gonna cast my vote down pretty quick.
It's fair.
I'm gonna go with Alduin, but I have a good reason behind it.
Sure.
So aside from the fact that he is able to use time manipulation and all this other whatnot, and look at those photos.
He's fucking cool looking. Yeah.
That looks bad.
He's badass.
The issue I have with Blue Eyes is because I'm pretty sure it was an anime first, not a video game.
Yes, which was a disclaimer on this specific list.
So I know that might be a little bit of an issue, but
So there's,
as
I believe,
we all know and are aware of
three?
why Blue Eyes has been in a lot of mediums games, movies, shows, you name it. Alduin, I would say when it comes to like presence, less is more.
Yeah, he gives off a hell of a presence.
Yeah, so I feel like having something like sinister, malevolent, sorry, as Alduin instead of being something you can easily just get in a card game. I think Alduin.
There was only 3 of them in the world, Marcus.
Shut up! How many times did Seto Kaiba play that fucking card in the game? How many times? In
All of
every
them.
duel we had.
So, Marcus
It was
votes,
often.
Marcus votes Alduin. Dylan?
Yeah.
You know, I love Blue Eyes, but I'm gonna have to go Aldwin too. He's just,
Yeah.
he's a god.
I'm gonna vote Blue Eyes
Oh!
because I
It's like
think
Marcus getting water without lemon.
I think Blue Eyes has become such a staple and a symbol for games he's in. Because when you think Yu-Gi-Oh games, you're like, I want a Blue Eyes. When you play Skyrim, you don't even know about Alduin until the end, which is fine. I like that a lot in most games. But then when you get there, you can beat him, and nothing changes. Because the way the game is designed, the way that world is designed around the character, it's so open and free. There's no, like, little things change, but you can do whatever the fuck you want after you beat the main story.
I feel like it's more of a Bethesda problem instead of a Alduin problem.
But that's part of his design, is that beating him does not change things. You know, so he is inherently not doing much. So that's my upvote. But I'm outvoted.
I was gonna say you are outvoted, so unfortunately, Blue Eyes, we love you, but you are out.
Alduin wins.
All right, matchup number 4.
So, Blue Eyes, as well as two others, are originated from non-video game media.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Oh God.
Safaria from Aragon. This is a very poorly pixelated image of the game. Versus
Marcus, don't use your hate a bit to be biased.
versus Ridley.
Okay, to be fair, he's facing Ridley.
I get it. She's facing Ridley, but don't
Okay,
use
so
your
it is a
bias
she.
of hating it.
Alright, so to be fair, I was never a fan of the game. Yes, we did rent it back when renting
Oh, it was
still-
terrible.
And it was arguably the worst game I have ever played. We beat it in a day, I think. If not, I couldn't
Yeah,
even
it was
finish.
less than a day, but
Oh yeah, that's why I hated it, because it was so goddamn short.
it was short
The
and
movie
easy.
wasn't that great either. The only
Yeah,
shining
'cause-
part of it is the book.
Because it was a tie-in to the movie, which was
Which-
supposed to be the next Lord of the Rings franchise, like, type.
Ah,
And it ended up just sinking the ship.
Yeah, because it
So
was
much
bad.
so you had to make sure it stayed under the sands of the ocean.
Yeah, they're like, don't let this shit up.
Which, the only positive that movie had was having Jeremy Irons in it. Jeremy Irons, his voice is fantastic. He's the voice of Mufasa. Or, sorry, voice of Scar.
Oh, I was like,
Yes, I know, I corrected myself. But Ridley is the big bad of the Metroid saga. And, yeah, like, Metroid's been around for 30, 40 years.
yeah, Ridley's. If we're talking about presence like Alduin, my fucking god,
yeah.
I think Ridley might have more of a presence than Alduin.
Yeah!
I would say probably, yeah. So I guess this was the easy round.
This, unfortunately, was the easiest because Safara?
Whatever
think
the
it's
hell her name-
Saphira.
We don't even know her name. That's how bad she
Regardless, her like, she's probably amazing in the books, but when it comes to video games itself, you can't fuck with Ridley.
was.
No, Ridley's. We've even been able to play as him in Smash.
I believe this image is from Smash, actually.
It is.
It
Actually.
is.
So
And
Ridley
he is a
wins.
beast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ridley, hands down.
Official. All right.
Matchup number 5.
Oh god.
Charizard Also, he's the third who originated in something else, I think.
Yep.
Versus Angelus from Drakengard.
Oh shit.
No, I have never played Drakengard, Drakengard, or whatever it's pronounced as. Can you give me some context?
Dylan?
It's been some fucking time.
So I never played Drakengard, but I watched a lore summary video because I was really hyped about Nier, and that is technically it goes Drakengard, Drakengard 3, Nier Replicant, and then Nier Automata in their timeline. Yes. So in Drakengard there was like a weird ending, and that one is like the one that leads up to the Okay. It's a confusing ass video. I'll just send you a video sometime.
Alright, so what can he do?
So let me pull up his stuff because I don't.
Or she, depending, because I think we've actually.
No, he's a guy.
2 genders of dragons.
So.
Also, it's a she. Angelus is a she.
Okay, alright.
Yep.
So you don't want to assume their genders.
Yeah, Marcus.
No, really. I've done
one
goofed on
thing
I think one of these, and I feel bad.
Okay,
One
so she's
thing I
super
do
racist against
remember-
humans.
One thing I do remember from her is she can evolve. She's able to evolve to suit the environment.
Cool. So I admit, when I was making this, I was thinking of a different dragon. From the same series, but that's okay. My vote is gonna go Charizard anyway. For the
Honestly, I'm
same
probably
reasons
gonna-
as Blue Eyes. Also, in the new
That's-
ones,
that
he is
is
the
true.
champion's like main Pokemon.
I will also go with Charizard, mainly because he is my favorite Pokemon of all time, 1. And 2, let us also not forget that in the 3rd Pokemon movie, Charizard went up against fucking Entei and actually put up a fight for a while.
Yeah, I mean
That was
Entei.
badass.
That's true.
And the Charizard in my original Pokemon Red playthrough was the king of Charizards. Let's be honest, he was a fucking monster.
I also want to note that in the anime, he doesn't put up with Ash's shit for a while,
That's true,
So-
and it's one of the funniest things ever.
and that's respect.
Well,
Also, he's
Charmeleon
next-
did the same thing, but
That's true. And then the other piece of that is you
Charmeleon.
can't get him.
Mm.
So I vote Charizard. Oops. Marcus votes Charizard.
Yeah, I was gonna originally go with Charizard as well.
Charizard.
He's just too iconic.
Exactly. He's the goat of Pokemon.
And
much.
I mean, let's say he's one of the original 3.
The best original 3.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next,
next up.
Gaping Dragon from Dark Souls.
Oh,
Jesus Christ, that looked like a Venus flytrap with legs.
I knew something from Dark Souls was gonna come into this, and you picked the most terrifying of the dragons.
Yes, I
That
did.
is a terrifying image, and I hate you for it.
He was such a pain in the ass.
That looks like something you would find in fucking Demon Slayer or something. Like, Jesus.
That looks like a really bad hentai. Versus the Void
Shut
Dragon.
up, Jake!
The Void Dragon from Divinity: Original Sin.
Oof.
And unfortunately, this is not a screenshot from my playthrough, though I did look a lot like the woman in red. I think I was
Funny.
wearing red in this fight. Might have been teal. I don't know.
Alright, so I can only imagine by looking at the Gaping Dragon on how that works.
Yeah, Dale, please talk about this.
Dill, can you tell me about more of the Gaping Dragon?
Well, first of all, in that picture, he doesn't. I mean, he looks menacing, but he is really fucking big.
A big
And-
gape, if you will.
I'm sorry.
A large gape, if you will.
Yes, you're funny. I get that.
I
You're a
thought that was
dick.
hilarious.
I sent,
he
I sent
has-
an image of him across from people.
Oh God.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah,
he's a behemoth.
he's able to emit a poisonous fog from his gaping maw, and oh my god, you fight him in a cave, so there's not really much flying. He doesn't really do the whole flying thing.
Right.
So your dragon has the advantage over that. He's way too big. In that picture, you don't really see it, but he's actually quite long.
Mm-hmm.
And those 4 wings aren't able to hold him up, so he's got the disadvantage for flight. He cannot fly. But
He doesn't look like he would fly very well.
no, he wouldn't.
No.
The way you see him in that picture as well, he's bent back. He's not at his full height.
Right.
Oh. That's
Yes.
even more terrifying.
That whole front structure body can go up.
Well,
It-
fuck that.
So he can get more of a reach, but it's still quite a disadvantage. I need some more information on your dragon before I can really
I was
clarify.
gonna say
So
I have
the
not
Void
gotten to that
Dragon-
point in Divinity.
Is the final boss in Original Sin.
Mm.
And essentially, it's the reason for all the shit. It's the one who contaminated Source, which is the like super magic in that game, and has been sealed in this box for I don't remember how long. I want to say 1,000 years, maybe more, by this woman who's not in the like this deity woman who's not in this image, named Astarte. But basically, he breaks free. And he is essentially made up of like space and time, because this is a realm in between time. So you're at both the beginning and the end of the universe.
Okay.
So he's like badass in that regard, where he dominates this realm of gods. He's incredibly powerful with his magic. He can fly wherever the fuck he wants, but he doesn't really fly in the fight because he's fighting. So he smacks you around and throws lava at you and stuff. But if he wins, time itself is destroyed. Like, if you go to the old YouTube channel I had and find the blooper reel, the very beginning of that is if he wins the fight, and it's like this ridiculous. It just goes to the credits and says "fuck you" pretty much. But he's a good fight. He's probably he's one of the hardest in the game for sure. I don't know if he is the hardest, but certainly one of them.
That's okay. You had Skelly, right?
I did. I had Super Skelly, who was so boss in this fight actually. But and the other part is you have, I think, at least one additional party member. Astarte is fighting with you. I can't remember if you have Zandalor as well. I think you do, but I don't remember. So you might have to have like 6 people fight with, which is pretty baller.
Damn. Another thing, I'm mistaken. It's not an acidic, like a poisonous mist. The gaping dragon, he spits up an acid glob, which will cover the whole ground around him. But that's the only like ability. All of his stuff is basically like hands-on, like close melee.
Yeah, they both looked kind of close combat, so that's why I think I pinned them.
All right.
Honestly, this is tough because I feel like the Void Dragon has this, but if he got close, he's kind of fucked.
I don't know, because he can just like change time.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
feel
is
like
true.
before Jake told me that he's basically feared by the gods.
Quite literally, yes.
Like, if gods are afraid of him, he gets the point.
Yeah.
Like, whereas the other one is a gaping mouth.
Yeah, I don't know enough about Dark Souls to have a huge opinion on this, but is he like an optional or a super boss or anything like that?
Oh, one of the ones that you can come across. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, I think he's one of those optional ones. You can
Cool.
go through the game without seeing him, but where's the
But-
fun in that?
Even
Right,
then,
yeah,
like
exactly. That's like
in general, from what you're telling me with his abilities, he would not be able to stick a candle to the Void Dragon. And
No,
just
not
in
in a
general,
fight,
when
for
it
sure.
comes to just in general, like the Void Dragon's a lot more powerful.
and
Like,
the
God
last thing I
Spirit.
want to talk about with these two is aesthetic.
All
This
right.
guy just looks fucking scary.
Yeah, well, it's Demon Souls. Of course he's supposed to.
He's got a menacing fucking appearance. But
I
Dark
recommend you
Souls.
both Google
Sorry, Dark Souls.
Google the Void Dragon because the picture I have is pretty poor. I admit, but he was kind of hard to find an image for.
He looks like a shadow monster.
Yeah. So the background is like this cool space void, and he is essentially just the dark, shadowy version of it. Very cool looking.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it looks like there's a rift on the map. On the
Yes.
field.
So.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can find a picture.
Gaping
of it.
Dragon can't do that shit.
All right. Well, I think you guys already know my vote.
Yep.
Love you, Gaping Dragon, but I have to go Void.
All right. 3 votes for the Void Dragon.
All right, Void wins.
I don't have a gavel, so my fist on my desk is gonna work just fine.
All right, next matchup.
This is-
Another.
The Battle of World of Warcraft.
No shit.
Syndroga
Syndragosa.
versus
pronounce that correctly?
Deathwing. I think so.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Those are both menacing-looking motherfuckers.
Yes. I believe Deathwing is probably more powerful. But she's like this badass undead thing.
Yeah, she was raised by the Lich King.
Ah, that's why it looks familiar. It's from the cinematic trailer. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
And,
when I put this
okay.
together, I was like fully aware of both of them and like what they were.
Yeah,
cool
she's known as the Queen of the Dragonflight, and she's a powerful frost worm.
Yep. As you can see by the.
And as for Deathwing, I don't know much about him. Then again, I don't really play World of Warcraft.
He was actually fun fact, and I learned this from Kyle. He was actually a good guy, like a big protector and everything. But when the cataclysm hit, he just went fucking berserk, and like voices and everything kind of like manipulated him, and he just kind of went crazy and insane.
And I believe he's like a daddy of dragons. So because he has like a daughter who shoots out little worms and stuff.
Yeah, he's
So he's a grandpa.
big. He's
Yeah,
a
he is.
big boy.
Yeah, he's giant and lava.
So we
Hence the
got
volcano.
ice versus lava.
Yeah.
If it's cold enough, it could freeze, but if it's hot enough, it could melt. This is a battle of elements, and who can
It's
use
a
their
song of
better.
ice and fire.
Shut the fuck up. And who can use it better? Pretty much.
Right. They're both really cool. They both have fun cards in Hearthstone.
Funny thing is, they're both a leader of their respective dragon aspects.
Right.
She's of the blue dragonflight. He was the leader of the black dragonflight. So they're both very fucking powerful, obviously, since they were the highest of their aspect.
Exactly. So.
Honestly, though, between those two, I have to go Deathwing.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go with Syndragosa.
Ooh.
So we finally have our first tiebreaker. I just feel like the aesthetic of Syndragosa, which is a badass name, by the way. I just feel like that, and the fact that it's an undead dragon. I think that just.
And I mean, she's raised by the Lich King himself.
Like I feel like with Deathwing, he just looks like a Balrog.
You can't really go wrong either way.
No, you can't. That's the tough one. This is a
Um,
difficult one, not only because I've never played the game, but they both look really badass.
but I think Deathwing is just like more intimidating and badass. So I vote for Deathwing.
Alright. Perfectly fair.
But either way,
Good matchup.
That was a good matchup.
winner, Deathwing. All right, that was all my slides. I only did it for the first round. So it was for some like moving seeds specifically. So our next round is Spyro. So first round of round 2 versus Bahamut. Coincidentally or conveniently next to each other.
That was the luckiest we'll get.
So Spyro, the adolescent icon, versus Bahamut, the king of dragons in Japanese fantasy.
Alright, so Dill, I'll let you speak first.
I guess, in their own way, they're both like the face of something.
Kind of.
Yeah, I'll play that.
Because respectively, I'm saying that because I'm not the Final Fantasy person.
Yet.
I know you guys hate me for it,
Yes.
but relax for a second.
You made Bahamut mad.
Respectively, of the summons, I don't know. Is he like? I want to say, not most common.
So,
Like,
he's common as in the fact that he's in most of the games, but he's generally either late game or extremely powerful and optional. For example, Marcus in Final Fantasy IX didn't get him,
Still, I kick myself to this day because of it.
even though he totally had the ability to.
Just me, like I
And then
said,
if you
kick-
go to Final Fantasy 8, he's essentially like an optional super boss.
Yeah.
But then in Final
Right.
Fantasy X, he's part of the story.
Yeah.
So it's kind of varied in that availability way.
he has more of an appearance than the others.
Not entirely.
He, Ifrit, Shiva are in a lot of them. Ramu's in a lot of them, but not all of them.
Leviathan.
Leviathan's a popular one. Yeah, so, I mean, there's so many of them that they've cycled a lot of them. Like Odin, Gilgamesh.
Yeah.
I've been in a bunch of them, so.
Gotcha.
He is the most iconic by name, though, I would say.
Yes.
So
Okay.
probably because he's a dragon.
Well, yeah, dragons are badass.
Right.
That's why we did this brisk first.
Hmm.
See, now we're gonna get to the point where it's actually really tough.
So, Spyro, I think he has an advantage because we play as him, so we get more time with him.
Hmm.
So we really feel the Spyro. And we get to kind of feel his quirks and personalities, and it's a consistent personality throughout, 25 years or whatever.
He also has he's always able to find a way around any obstacle that comes to him.
Mhm.
Let's put it this way.
Whereas Bahamut
Whereas Bahamut doesn't need an obstacle.
is
is no
usually the obstacle. And we don't play as him, so we don't understand his personalities very much, with the exception of this bad boy,
Right.
which
Let's
you
put
will
it
get
this
to.
way. Like Spyro, obviously he's a kid at this point. Like essentially, he's a kid throughout the series
Yes.
because he never grows into an adult, and so he's able to be almost like one who controls a weapon in a way,
Mhm.
because his mind is very good. He's a smart one. Whereas Bahamut is basically a fucking nuke.
Kind of.
Because if
the,
you use him right,
the other
and
benefit,
he ends fights.
yeah, the other kind of neat thing about Bahamut is in certain forms he is a cognitive recreation of essentially a dragon nuke or a magical compression, things like that. Like Final Fantasy VII, he's from materia, which is like earth magic, just parts of magical life stream earth stuff. So
Nice description.
so he is essentially just a very powerful essence from the earth that you can call upon.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of cool. And there's different versions of him, which I like over Spyro, because there's Mega. How many versions are there? I think
Dark.
There's I think 4. Okay. So I think there's 3 of them in 7 specifically, and then the dark versions in like 10.
Don't forget
and then,
the one
and then
from
we've
10
also
too.
And then the other cool thing about Bahamut that, at least to me, is if we go back to 9 because of recency bias, is he's just seen as that crazy scary thing, because they're like, oh no, he's summoning Bahamut, fuck, our castle's gone, our kingdom's ruined. Like, whereas Spyro is more like the underdog. It's David versus Goliath.
Yeah.
But neither of them have a slingshot.
They have fire and elements.
Yeah, exactly. They have fire and magic.
This is tough.
And then the
This
other
actually
thing
might
I think,
be the toughest one of the entire BRISK.
and then I think Spyro also kind of has his consistent aesthetic is appealing, but it's also a detractor because it means he is less diverse. Meaning, there's less. If you like one version of Bahamut, that can be your image of him. Versus Spyro, there's only one.
Yeah. Well, technically there's 2 because of Skylanders.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
that is true.
small purple dragon,
Exactly.
or big silver dragon, big blue dragon thing, brown
Navy.
dragon in 9.
Navy Dragon.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of different versions. So
Alright. So, Dill, we'll let you vote first with this one.
There's 2 ways we could go through it. Either just by presence and power, which Bahamut has.
mm-hmm.
Well, physical presence.
Yes.
Spyro has more of a spiritual presence that's like
Because you've seen him
fandom.
and play him, right?
in fandom when it comes to a popularity contest.
I don't know about that one.
We might need that for Watch Mojo. We should call them. But no, I'm probably gonna go with Bahamut on this one.
Oh. I'm not gonna lie, I fully expected Spyro to come out of your mouth there.
Marcus, you're up next.
Alright, well, this is a tough one for me.
I wanted to, but even Spyro has limits.
Like, I'm also gonna vote for Bahamut, but I have a good reason.
Sure.
Aside from Spyro being an icon in the PlayStation genre, or just the game system in general, when you think of the PlayStation, you think of, Crash, you think of, freaking Spyro, you think of all these other names, but Spyro's the big one. And he's been around forever. But here's the kicker. Bahamut has been around for longer. And a lot of the Japanese fan base, which is mostly Final Fantasy, that's very popular in Japan, more so in America. At least
Sure.
I'd like to think. People know who Bahamut is. And Bahamut's also originated from a Arabic, legend folktale.
Yeah.
So not only that,
It
and
is true.
my first interaction with Bahamut was at 10, and he was the tour de force in the lineup of Aeons or summons.
Yeah, he is the strongest summon you can get
He was literally
that is not optional.
I used him as a nuclear weapon when all else failed. and Mega Flare was the most damaging attack in the game, at least when I first played it. So as much as I love Spyro, and it's probably one of my favorite platformers of all time, I have to go with Bahamut because of sheer presence, form, and the fact that he has changed so many different ways over the years, where Spyro is still like the Ash Ketchum of video games.
That's so true. So
You're not wrong. What the fuck?
that's so
Thank you,
good.
thank you.
Yeah, I think Bahamut was actually in the first Final Fantasy game back in, what, 86?
Oh, it's getting close to the.
They just had their
40 years
30
now?
year, actually. So
Yeah, like it's crazy in how long that series has been around. There we go.
87. I was so close.
87. Oh God.
I would say Bahamut also has done more for gaming by being a part of Final Fantasy and such a big part of it, where because Final Fantasy not only revolutionized a genre for the West, may not have like revolutionized it, air quote, but it kind of did, and then it also brought it to the West, and he was a big part of the cool factor on that. So I think he kind of wins in that area, but he's my pick anyway, because all the things you guys said, plus I think he's just cooler, and then I think his versions that we do get kind of a personality are more interesting than Spyro.
This was a tough matchup, though. I do
It was
like
a
that.
really hard match.
But Bahamut advances.
Bahamut, official. All right. Next up, we have the Hydra King versus
Okay.
Alduin.
Okay, that was also an easy scroll there.
I feel like this one's probably going to be easy.
Yeah. I don't even need to discuss it. Hydra's, good, but
Yeah,
Alduin.
he's just like cool and fun, but this is a dragon. This is a
Alduin's a
real
god.
dragon. You
With,
know?
like, actual fucking power.
Yeah. So I think it's pretty easy to say that
Yeah.
he wins by
E-
default.
Easy.
Alduin will look
Alduin.
down on him like, I'm just gonna drop a few meteors on you, see ya.
Yeah. Alduin advances in
Fustura the fuck out of here.
the fastest round in a BRISK to date, because it's the first one. Next we have Ridley versus Charizard.
Ah!
Mother.
This isn't a fun one. No.
God damn it.
All right.
I
So
guess
I'll go for it. I'll go for it, and hopefully you guys can help build on this. So Charizard, obviously with me and the Brisks, and just in general what we do with lists and all that stuff, I'm always a little biased because if it comes straight from the video game, I always think that's better.
Mhm.
well.
However,
did
Charizard is something that I knew more about as a child than Ridley. That being said,
did Charizard or did Pokemon start as a game and then become manga?
no, it was a manga first,
Was it?
flat out. If I am correct. But point being,
I'm looking it up just because I'm curious.
I
but-
remember Charizard from the show before the game, because the show came out a little before the game, and everyone wanted Pokemon Yellow, but we got Red, and we were pissed because they're going to Pikachu. God damn it! But anyway,
Now, when it comes to feats,
Uh,
are
real
we
quick,
Okay.
Pokemon did actually start as the game. So
really?
Yep.
Oh well, shit. Oh, that changes my entire perspective. With
now,
that being
with
said,
feats, are we including, since technically it's not evolving, his mega form?
if you want to, I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Would that make a difference against Ridley, though?
All right, so
probably
for me,
not.
in my personal opinion, Ridley does have my vote. Ridley wins this. Not because I love him more than Charizard, or her, depending. Because don't get me wrong, like I said, Charizard's my favorite Pokemon of all time, and the game did come first, as Jake just proved.
Yep, 96.
And it's amazing. Charizard
Fuck.
was always my go-to. However, Ridley was one of the first major antagonists in video games.
It's true.
Yeah, it is
So
true.
when it comes
I
to
mean,
historical aspect of video games,
2D
Ridley-
side-scrolling.
Ridley is the biggest one of this entire thing.
He's
What are you
not
doing
wrong.
with the mouse, Jake?
Oh, sorry, I was circling his stomach. Um, Too bad I wasn't screen recording that.
But
So I think
point
the
being-
argument for Charizard, though, is not only is he the poster boy of Gen 1, quite literally, he's on the box.
Yeah,
Um,
like above Pikachu. I mean, that's something.
Pikachu came. Pikachu was a
definitely
common
big.
Pokemon in Gen 1 until
That
Yellow.
is true. Wasn't
Until the Yellow,
originally
because
started, was it?
Yellow came out because of the anime.
Yes.
And it was like every gen has like that third game kind of, or at least most of them do. That's
Mhm.
like air quote the best one. Where in Gen 1 it was just based off the anime and it wasn't as good as the other ones. Just throwing
And
that out
to
there.
be fair, when everyone played Pokemon, the majority went Charmander.
Yes. So, and I was gonna say, I think Charmander is, yeah, he evolves, which is great. But I think Ridley's probably evolved more throughout time, just as a necessity. Where Charizard has been consistently just this cool powerhouse fire dragon who's not actually a dragon type Pokemon.
Still one of the greatest sins of gaming.
Yeah, that is so stupid. And
It's so
when
bad.
they gave Gyarados Fly,
Oh my god. Don't get me started. I remember I had a fit that day.
And then the other cool thing with Charizard is he was consistent. He's still relevant in modern gen Pokemon. Whereas if you play Sword and Shield, the champions, like pet Pokemon, prized Pokemon, whatever it is a Charizard, which is kind of cool.
Mhm.
So he's been around. He's stayed relevant. He's stayed strong and powerful, and he's always been cool. And for a lot of people, he's like their image of a cool Pokemon. Like when someone says Pokemon, they think Charizard because of their personal experience with the game. I mean, they probably think Pikachu because of marketing, but then they think Charizard.
Japanese Mickey.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that's the argument for Charizard is right there.
Alright.
yeah,
So, would you vote for Charizard? Or Ridley?
I'm Ridley. Just throwing that out there.
I'm gonna vote Charizard. Just because I never really played enough Metroid to fully. Also, he was in Smash first, so
Well, it is 2-1, Jake, so Ridley does win this matchup.
Ridley wins.
He was in Jake. Also, he was in Smash first.
Now,
Fuck you guys.
I did notice something, if I did count correctly. Deathwing did advance, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Now, is that the last matchup? Oh, nope, sorry. I totally
Void
done
Dragon
Void Dragon. I'm so
Versus
sorry, guys.
Deathwing.
I totally skipped.
It's okay.
Alright. Deathwing against the Void Dragon.
Void Dragon. Deathwing.
I'm gonna go Void Dragon because I think the delivery on it was good. I think the Void Dragon is just a fucking beast. And just in general, it was a really, once you learn about it, you're like, what? And then the way they kind of sprinkle in the lore is very it's in small bits of these like beautiful scroll-esque dream sequences, and the imagery of the dragon is just intimidating, and it's also very, very pretty. And then you get there and it's this monster who can just destroy time. I'm a big fan of the aesthetic, that like shadow-esque look, and the backdrop you fight him in is just gorgeous. As I sent you a screenshot in the chat, but yeah, I mean, just the implication of it just always really feels important on such a personal journey, whereas WoW is obviously a personal journey, but you're also in raids, which is a design flaw for this list to me, because it takes away from your experience with the dragon and adds like so many other people, whereas someone else that could be the exact opposite feeling. But
Alright.
I'm going to, because I was curious.
Mhm.
a number of feats for Deathwing to give him a little bit more of a fight. He apparently has the ability. He has reality warping ability through magic.
Yeah, he's nuts.
He has an ability for invisibility to dragons while he's inside the dragon soul. He can extract the power of other entities through his magic.
Yeah, I think he's the strongest in WoW by like a decent chunk. And I think WoW is a stronger universe for sure. So in a fight, I mean, I might give it.
Yeah. Mind control, mind manipulation, energy manipulation, earth manipulation, fire manipulation.
So what you're basically saying is that Deathwing basically is an Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Shadow, darkness,
Void Dragon is basically a cosmic being.
Yeah.
So if a dragon could be an avatar, he is.
Yeah, more than Spiral. Yeah, I think the biggest take, like, away for points as far as Deathwing goes for me is options. In Divinity, there's in the first Divinity Original Sin, to my knowledge, that's the only dragon in the game. Whereas, how many dragons are in World of Warcraft?
Right.
Well, Deathwing kept it in his pants.
That's true. So
I
feel like,
if I'm correct, I think there's 9 dragon aspect orders.
Yeah, well, there's a shitload of dragons.
7. That means there's like 7 or 9 leaders. So there's a bunch of dragons under those, like under their wings.
Nice.
I'm also gonna vote for the Void Dragon.
It's tough because the Void Dragon does have a huge advantage, but it's that energy absorption. He could just absorb and extract that energy the Void Dragon has.
So the problem is, did you watch My Hero?
Yes.
Okay. You remember the Nomu versus All Might fight?
Yes.
Remember what All Might said about absorption?
I'll just pound through it.
Right. Because the Void Dragon is essentially space and time.
Yeah.
So he could just, in theory, just overpower him with pure absorption. But
now remember, this isn't based on who would win in a fight.
Yeah, no, I think in a fight it would be fun, and I don't know who would win. I think
it'd be one hell of a fight.
Give that to Death Battle.
Yeah.
But overall, when it comes to it, between these two, I say the Void Dragon does win. Not only because, like, I haven't played too much of WoW to really understand Deathwing, but what you're saying is basically the Infinity Gauntlet in Avatar had a dragon love child. But
one other point for Deathwing is he is in multiple games, being in Hearthstone as well.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for me, I see Deathwing as this Balrog looking thing, where, and this might just be a personal bias for me, I don't feel that is 100% original. But then again, Lord of the Rings is such a massive influencer of many genres and mediums.
Sure.
Whereas the Void Dragon literally looks like a galaxy in the form of a dragon.
Yeah.
And just the lore with him, it's like, sees him as this being, but then when you actually speak to the gods, it's like, okay, fuck this guy.
Yeah. I think the idea of Deathwing's aesthetic was like, picture a scary dragon.
Yeah. But like with the Void Dragon, gods are afraid of him. That is the big thing that is taking me towards him in most of these fights.
Yeah.
If a god is literally afraid of this galaxy-looking dragon that wants to destroy time, who can?
Yeah.
It's tough to really beat that.
I agree.
All right, Jake, knock it down.
Void Dragon wins.
Void.
All
Next round, gentlemen.
It is.
We have
Bahamut versus
Alduin.
I
know even your phone's sweating.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
I'm gonna push Bahamut on this because a lot of the reasons I said before, and actually when he's in the story, it matters to the world that you're in.
Yeah, that is true.
So like in Final Fantasy IX, for example, because he destroys Alexandria, it has huge implications on the way you play the game after that. Like the town looks different, everything is different. Versus Skyrim, where
You're like, oh, there's a story in this game. I'm gonna go explore this cave.
right, where Anduin can, Alduin does something. It doesn't matter to the rest of the world that much.
Yeah, I have to agree with Jake on that one. Though,
Yeah,
I think
do
that's
agree.
like the biggest reason I push Bahamut on this one.
for me, it's still because of like the iconic status.
Yeah. Also, like, how many cool forms of Bahamut are there?
Why Bahamut's been in multiple games, Alduin's been in one. Technically 7, because if you remaster a game for every console.
and Alexa.
Skyrim's not as good as Shadow of the Colossus when it comes to that.
Point being, like Alduin is almost a one-off villain who like
Which I think a lot of the times is great, and I think that's a lot of the times
it
gives
works
points.
depending. But at the same time, if he was facing anyone else on our board, he might have a chance to pull it off. But since he's facing,
I feel like he's kind of like Deathwing in that last fight, except just not as overpowered.
Yeah.
Almost, but not quite.
Yeah,
Bahamut's-
he's strong, but I mean, Deathwing.
Yeah, that's true. So, I vote Bahamut. Clearly.
Same.
Yeah, I'm standing by you guys on that.
Bahamut
Knock it down.
is a finalist.
Bahamut's in the finals.
Next up, Ridley versus the Void Dragon.
Ugh. Oh boy.
Wow.
So I just made a giant argument for the Void Dragon. So I will talk a little bit about.
You and your Void Dragon.
But Ridley is obviously been in way more games, has needed to adapt with time, which is just something I think is an impressive feat for any character. One reason I think Bahamut and Ridley are both phenomenal. Also was in Smash. It's a big point.
That is a big point.
And was able to transcend genres, which is cool. Which is another really hard thing for any character. Just look at
Any
Sonic.
character that's like not humanoid.
Yeah. So, even as an antagonist, but also being an antagonist for so long is impressive. It can be tedious and annoying, or it can be fun and exciting. So,
Mm-hmm.
Well, for the Metroid series, Ridley is basically, Samus and Ridley are basically the Mario and Bowser of that entire franchise. If
Right.
you want to go with something like that.
yeah, I don't know enough about Metroid. If each game is like standalone, or if they're all.
I think-
multiple.
I think it's kind of like the same thing exactly, as like
Fuck you.
Super Smash Brothers, or like just Mario in general. I feel like that's kind of the same concept with it.
yeah.
Then again, if I am wrong, I am totally wrong. But
Yeah, that's the feel I got from it too. So, Dylan, anything you want to say about either of these two?
Void and Ridley. I mean, Ridley's good, but it's hard to like compete against something so vast.
Mm.
Like galactic vast.
It's true.
yeah,
I'm actually gonna vote for Ridley on this one. For the reasons I just listed, I think it's just so impressive how the evolution has been.
And how he's been such a consistency
Mm-hmm.
in the series. Whereas
A consistent staple in an evolving series.
mhm.
is very impressive to me. Versus in Divinity, you could have gotten away with not having the Void Dragon. They could have written it, and it still would have been equally as good, I would say, if they cut out that portion of it and just had you fight something else. But I think the Void Dragon is an awesome final boss. One of my favorites, actually. It's a list for another day, though. But yeah, I'm gonna vote Ridley.
Dylan?
You know, those were some pretty compelling arguments. But regardless of that, yeah, I'm gonna probably have to go with Ridley as well. It's just more of a staple.
Yeah. Historical aspect, I will go with Ridley. And just in general, like the Void Dragon, as you said, could have easily just been cut for another like rogue god.
It would have been like hard, but it didn't need to be in the game to make the game great.
Whereas Ridley is a staple.
Yeah, I feel like without Ridley, the game's probably not going to be as great.
Yeah.
Finals.
The finals.
Kind of like if Bowser wasn't in a Mario game.
Exactly. So we've got Bahamut versus Ridley.
Now, I feel like
this is the test of time.
this is probably the best possible matchup we could have gotten in this.
I think so, yeah.
Like, when it comes to just standalone icons and long time ones, like, I'm very happy that we decided to vote more on, like, not like, oh, who is, like, the freshest in our minds kind of thing. It's more like just impact of gaming in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really happy that we went with that method.
Yeah.
Or at least I wasn't the only one who did.
Yeah, I think, because I just made such an argument for Ridley, obviously, Bahamut is kind of the goat of summons, if you will.
There's not really a question on that.
He has...
What we've established both in our personal reviews of the different Final Fantasy games and just in general, he is the top dog of summons, at least from like the generic ones that he'll get. Like, obviously there's the ones out there like Carbuncle.
Carbuncle's so weak. I mean, it's not weak, but like it's a defensive summon.
I know, but even then, like just like generic ones that out there, like Bahamut's the king of summons as well as dragons.
Thing as far as historical value, Bahamut does win, I think, because he's been in more games, pretty sure. And in at least each of those games has been more, not each one, but some of those games have been more impactful than any Metroid game. For example, Final Fantasy VII is one of the most impactful games in history. Also Final Fantasy IV, I think he was in, which is when storytelling was really introduced into gaming in a different way, and without that, I don't think we would have this list at all.
Probably not, no.
So that's two pretty major factors in Bahamut. Then of course you have his just pure badassery, destroying towns and people, and then you actually do get to control him, which is cool in 10. Just because the way the summon system worked in that game was phenomenal.
You get to control Ridley and Smash.
Yeah, I was going to say, but you get to control Ridley and Smash, which isn't quite the same, because you're not as invested in a Smash story as you are in a Final Fantasy story.
But it is kind of the same, whereas you're invested in the Metroid series and able to control the big antagonist.
Yes. And then the last thing Bahamut kind of has over Ridley is he's both an antagonist and a companion.
Out of curiosity,
Sure.
Who's older?
Ridley.
When did Metroid come out?
The first Metroid game. It was 1986, so by a year.
Damn, they're a year apart.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Didn't see that. I thought there was a slightly bigger gap, but
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
You would think.
Oh yeah, definitely. To be honest, I thought it was like 84, but
I thought it was like 85, 86, yeah.
And like you said previously, Bahamut does have the advantage of coming from actual myth.
Yes. Which also gives Ridley, the counter argument of creativity.
originality, yes.
Yeah, which is kind of diminished when you look at how many versions of Bahamut there are. But original intention.
Yeah, I get it.
I believe at this point, we've said almost everything there can be to say about each of these candidates.
Yeah.
Like, both of which are top dogs.
So
And then again, every single one that's been on this has been worthy to be here.
Not being biased, I'm probably going to go with Ridley.
Sure. I don't think there's a wrong choice here.
There really isn't. Once you get to like the semifinals
Yeah.
of this, like
they've both they've both been around for 30 years plus, so they're older than us.
yeah,
They've both.
So does it come to a popularity contest then?
They've
no,
both.
like it's just at this preference at this point.
Yeah, they've both transcended different genres and consoles and aesthetics.
It's true.
They've both been incredible antagonists, or fights at least, and they've both been in multiple games. I like the aesthetic of Bahamut better because there's so many options, but I appreciate the consistency of Ridley because she's just scary. It's great.
She is pretty terrifying.
And then I just think, do that every time.
You do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Bahamut's been more important because with Ridley, I mean, I feel like you could do this with Bahamut, but it just doesn't have the same feel because of just the mythology of it. But you could just insert a different bad guy and it would still be fun. Same thing with Bahamut, you could just get rid of him and put in a different summon.
It's true.
But the mythology of a dragon king destroying something is just kind of empowering and terrifying.
I can see that, yeah.
Also, I'm a huge Final Fantasy nerd, so... But I did took away all my bias for this, I promise.
It's actually been really tough voting for Bahamut in the earlier stages with some of them because, like, I feel like the bias didn't help, but at the same time, I looked at the opponents and like, oh shit, he kind of has weaker opponents.
He had the hardest fights.
I meant in like the BRISK.
Bahamut?
Yeah, like I feel like
He
the
went
ones
against the Archdemon and Spyro.
Well, I mean,
I was like, I think he had the hardest opponents.
nah. I think Ridley had the toughest ones, especially with the Void Dragon, because that one probably could have won.
Yeah, I would say it was a fairly
So-
even list.
So when it comes down to it, I know Dill has voted for Ridley,
Correct.
and you have voted for Bahamut.
Correct.
That leaves me as the decido factor.
Yep.
Oh God, I hate this pressure. So
In the
I-
final act.
I'm tough on this one, or this is tough. Not I am.
I was like, you're a pussy.
Like, you can tell how difficult it is. He is fumbling over his words.
yeah, because let's put it this way: Ridley helped save gaming, in a way. Because Metroid and all the other stuff in the like mid '80s, after the crash because of E.T. the video game, video games
Yeah,
weren't
it's
all
true.
that popular for a while.
Fucking
Ridley,
E.T. the video
Mario.
game. I completely forgot about that bullshit.
Yeah, like basically those slew of games in like 85, 86 helped save gaming completely. And Ridley was being one of the major antagonists for the hero to rise up. Which,
That's
by the way, you didn't even know Samus was a chick at first.
Yeah, I don't
think
know.
that was
I don't
a cool
know enough
twist.
about the history of that. the
So
whole
when you look at the
market side of
history
things, but
gaming,
let me get it clarifying.
yeah.
Was it the game, or was it that Samus was a woman that was the really big push on that? Because I don't actually know.
The big controversy, or the biggest twist, was that Samus was a chick, and you find that out at the end. I think it was.
Right, but was that a big reason for people to buy it? Or
No, it was just a generic, really good game.
yeah, okay, good.
Um,
That's what I wanted you to
because,
say.
like, people didn't realize at first that it was a chick. Like, that's why it was so big of news. It's like, oh crap, I've been playing as a chick this entire time. And
Yeah,
it
yeah, I know
might
that,
as well
but-
have been the first female protagonist in gaming as well. So it had a dragon-esque villain, which is pretty dope. Now, on Bahamut's side of things, why Ridley helped save gaming, Bahamut helped, as Jake said earlier, bring in an entire genre of games and popularized it, not only in Japan, but in American audiences. Whereas RPGs were popular, don't get me wrong, in Japan, like once Final Fantasy VII and the Final Fantasy games came into America in the late 90s, that's when we got this genre. It's like popularized
push,
and
yeah.
just whew, and Bahamut was such a major integrity on that. Now, why Ridley, you could have easily have picked anything else to choose as a form for Ridley. Bahamut is the king of dragons. And that is why I'm voting for the king.
That's a hard pick, but
It was the toughest choice of this list, and I think it was
the correct finals.
very well fought. So, winner, Jake, knock it down.
Bahamut. So,
Alright. That is now listed in our archive.
there is the BRISK filled out.
Alright.
Nice.
That was a very good matchup. Like I said, shout out to every single one of the entrants.
Except for
Sephiroth or whatever her name was.
yeah, because that game sucked.
Oh, Saphira.
I was like, where is it?
Except for Saphira.
This one, yeah.
Now, if you look at it, aside from the first round with that one, Ridley had like almost a beautiful shot to the finals.
Oh yeah, I mean Charizard
I
was
was like,
hard.
Charizard, great. Void Dragon, also a pretty tough matchup. Whereas Bahamut, Alduin, okay, we all knew we were going to vote for on that one. And Spyro being tough, but Bahamut also had just a...
I think I almost expected Spyro to win.
In my mind, it was Ridley was... Once I saw Ridley's name on there, I'm like, oh shit, this is a tough fight.
Yeah.
Because I think Ridley's going to make the finals no matter what happens now.
Perfect. Well, Bahamut is the king of dragons, as we see. And next,
Do we have another idea for the next BRISK?
I do. Yeah, let me pull it up.
The winner of the BRISK is going to be basically a Hall of Fame.
I like it. So it's romances for Valentine's Day.
Fuck.
Oh.
Alright, well, even
These are
then, we
hard.
do have a Hall of Fame list, and Bahamut is our first entry into the BRISK Hall of Fame.
He deserves it.
And Jake,
I
I
think
think
you
this
should-
is just going to be my catchphrase for this. Knock it down.
I think you should put him at like the gold, and then put Ridley down in the second place Hall of Fame.
Well, actually, you know what I'm going to do?
Runner up.
Nope. See, I'm going to be nice, and I'm going to actually add both of them in here. But Bahamut is going to be the first entry in there.
Right. Yeah. And just notate that he won.
Exactly. So, asterisk.
This is who he won against.
Yes. We're
But
both,
also is
basically
worthy
everyone in the
of
finals-
a championship.
like whoever makes it to the finals deserves the utmost respect and is considered in our Hall of Fame. But when it comes to who we actually choose is the
Well,
better one.
I want you to prepare a Hall of Infamy as well.
Hall of Infamy. All right. Well, I can get that as well. Give me one moment.
I don't think we have any lists on that yet.
Well, I think.
I
in
mean, I
this
have
one,
like them prepared. I just don't know when we're gonna do them. But
when it comes to Infamy, I think
Saphira.
one thing that we can also add is like a list of losers, like the worst of the worst.
Saphira.
Which, unfortunately, Saphira does consider in that list of losers.
Yeah.
So bad.
Alright, so I like to add 2 on here. Now, who would be the second worst in our entire brisk?
It was Blue Eyes.
Yeah.
That's true.
Which
because he
just
didn't
like
get eliminated
hurts my
fast.
soul.
It hurts fucking admitting it.
There we go. And then
Or was it Ender Dragon?
Ender
Ooh,
Dragon. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I think it was Ender Dragon because Ender Dragon.
Because I voted for Blue Eyes and none of us
You
voted
did.
for Ender Dragon.
No one voted for Ender Dragon.
Oh,
Yeah, it was Ender Dragon.
thank
The
God.
only thing she's got going for her is her adorability.
That's right. Thank
All
goodness.
right.